What's good, YouTube? So this is a response to one of the comments on Matt Easton's video about aggressive unskilled opponents, and somebody wanted to know what the best way of dealing with those types of fighter is. Now, before I get into that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the situation Matt mentioned, and I am purely speculating here. But he was talking about the British fighting, dueling against the French with small swords, and the British winning most of the time by being more aggressive, whereas the French were more skillful. I would say that if the French were losing most of the time, they were less skillful. Now, the British may not have been very good at defence, but not knowing all the intricacies of using a small sword, because, you know, it wasn't their cup of tea. But if they were winning most of the time, clearly their skill at attacking was higher than the French's skill at defending. Even if the British were completely shit at defence, they had enough skill at attacking to be able to make up for it. Now, is it the most sensible way of fighting? No. Should they be learning how to defend themselves so they don't get stabbed back as well? Of course they should. But yeah, what I'm saying there is, you know, the two things aren't intrinsically linked. Somebody can be very aggressive while still being skilled. So Olympic fencers are another good example of this. We could talk all day about the failings of Olympic fencing, but they are aggressive and they are skilled at attacking. And of course, somebody could also be very aggressive and skillful at attacking, while at the same time being good at attacking safely. So perhaps they'll close in and block off a line of attack and then thrust in, or whatever. Whatever your style might teach you to do in situations like that. But yeah, the things aren't intrinsically linked there. That's all I'm going to say about that. But for the rest of this video, I am going to be talking about the kind of just mindless brutes who will just come in with absolutely everything they've got, and they are very unskilled. They're just coming in like that and just leaving themselves wide open, telegraphing all over the place, but hitting with enough force to do really serious damage, even if you're like padded up and it's like a training weapon. So, how do we deal with people like that? This is something I've got a little bit of experience with. A while ago, somebody did have to be kicked out from the club I train at for just being a complete psychopath. They ended up bruising a guy really, really badly. Should have seen the warning signs first. I should have said something sooner. But personally, when he's fighting me, I don't give a shit. Come at me with everything you've got. Be a psychopath. You're the perfect person I want to fight against, because you are going to be one of the easiest types of fighter to defeat. And the reason, yeah. So what do you need to do to be able to defeat a person like that? First thing, get good. This is the most important part. I'm not going to be like, hey, here's 6 quick tips you can use to easily defeat these guys. Go buy my bloody ebook now, $99 or whatever. No, you're going to have to get good, and it is going to be hard work. I'm not just going to be like, well, here's a couple of techniques you can use. It's not as simple as that. You need to get good. Secondly, don't be intimidated. So I've seen a lot of people who clearly have the skill to be able to beat those kind of fighters, but they just lose control and like practically cower in a corner when confronted by someone like that. Fear gets the better of them, and as a result they end up losing, when really they should have the skill to be able to beat a fighter like that absolutely every time. So really important, don't get intimidated. This does come down to confidence. It is something which you really do have to develop for yourself. But again, getting good and training will help with that a lot. Training really can help an awful lot when it comes to confidence. You just have to realise that you just have to realise what your level of skill actually is. And finally, remember your training. So yeah, this comes down to if you get intimidated, you are going to forget your training. But if you are well trained, you should have no problem trying to deal with people like that. They're coming in and attacking like that. They're telegraphing like that. You know exactly what they're going to do. You've got enough training to be able to see where the attack's coming from and be able to block it in time. You've had training, so you know that your blocking mechanics are stable enough to be able to deal with the force of that bone-breaking hit. You understand distance. You can riposte nice and quickly and smoothly. You can get back into guard again. If you can do all of that stuff, you will have the skill to be able to beat an unskilled, aggressive opponent who's just telegraphing all over the place. Yeah, it can be intimidating, but if you don't let that get to you, and you are training a competent martial arts, and you have been training for a decent amount of time, and do well against people who've been training for a reasonable amount of time yourself, you should have no problem against that kind of opponent. So that's it for now. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.